takes a lot of hands to keep the trains on the tracks around here.
It does.
At Dave Campbell's Texas Football. We got a lot going on. A lot of shrapnel flying.
And most of the time, not enough hands.
And normally when the shrapnel flies, what we do is we grab the nearest intern and throw them in front of ourselves to protect us from the shrapnel.
Yes.
And here with the DCTF 2022 Summer Internship Exit Interview is one of those victims. It's Ryan Baldwin. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Mr. Tepper.
How are you?
Excellent.
Please don't call me Mr. Tepper.
Please keep doing that.
That's very
Make him
That's
feel
how I
old.
was raised, though.
That makes me
Yeah,
very.
exactly.
I don't care how you were raised. You were raised wrong if you're calling me Mr. Tepper. Okay, so what's your deal? Where do you go to school?
I am going into my last semester at the University of North Texas. Go Mean Green. Planning on graduating here in December.
Another one of you North Texas people.
Yeah.
You guys,
And look how great he was.
You're spawning.
We're like weeds. We really are.
We just continue to grow.
I've tried to kill you with chemicals. Absolutely true.
Is that what was going on?
Well,
Yeah.
You thought the coffee tasted weird. So you've been here since when? When did you start? May?
Yeah, second to last week of May. Last
Second
week
last
of May, around there.
May. Okay, now
That
where?
was right when magazine was going to print.
Yes, I remember having a conversation with
Yeah,
you
the
and the other,
hellscape.
you and the other
Period.
interns, and telling you like there's two kinds of internship, like two portions of the internship. One is where I'm just going to come to you with a bunch of little things that I need for the magazine, like photos, and like please Google this person's name to make sure it's spelled right, and then we'll have fun at the end of it. Okay, now where'd you go to high school?
Parish Episcopal.
Parish Episcopal. You're a Panther.
I am.
They open with Alito, I think. They've got a big season opening.
But now, see, I went way back. My senior year was the 2010-2011.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's been a while since I've been out of high school. Went back to college. It was 3 years ago now.
So what are you studying at North Texas?
Converged Broadcast Media. So originally at North Texas it was Media Arts, and now they've kind of split it off into Media Arts, where it's the documentary filmmaking type deal, and then there's Converged Broadcast Media, which is more of the broadcasting, news, sports, entertainment, that kind of deal.
Which is what Mallory and I both graduated with.
Okay.
Converged Broadcast Media.
Okay. So then what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to do sports talk radio.
Sports talk radio.
Yeah, which really narrows it down in DFW now that ESPN's gone. It's
Yeah, I was going to say you got the fan or the ticket.
Yeah.
It's basically if you want to stay here.
Because he's at KNTU right now.
Okay. Okay. And what are you doing
Which
at KNTU?
just switched formats.
Yes.
It's not a jazz station
It is
anymore, which
no
I was sad
longer
about.
a jazz station. It is a indie/alternative rock station.
Which-
indie is definitely stretching it if you listen to any of it. I would say 99% of it is not indie. But up at KNTU,
A lot of Coldplay.
Yeah, man, Coldplay. Imagine they opened their very first song was the White Stripes.
Not an indie band.
Like,
No.
it's not indie. That hasn't been indie
But
since
local. Jack White's.
Yeah.
Jack White hangs around. I think he has Jack White has like a baseball bat company in Dallas. It's a weird fun fact here in the middle of this exit interview.
He does a lot of different
He's
stuff.
an odd guy. But anytime you want to come on the show, Jack, to talk about your baseball bets, we can do that. Okay, so you want to be a sports talk radio host. How long have you wanted to do that?
Well, I went to college a couple different times trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And after I dropped out a couple times because I just couldn't figure it out, I was in the service industry for nearly 10 years. While I was in the service industry, I started bartending. And when I started bartending, I realized how awesome and cool it was, how much fun it was to talk sports with people. And then I've been listening to the ticket since I was a wee lad. So I realized right about then that I was like, okay, sports talk is something that I can do and do well. And I was trying to get an internship at the time, and around that time is when they swapped to college credit only for internships. So it's like, okay, I'm going to have to go back to school to try and do that. So about 5-6 years ago was when I realized that that's what I wanted to do. It took me some time to get back into school and get back on the right track for that.
So you wanted an internship at Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket, and you settled for an internship at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Is that a fair assessment of the situation?
I would never settle
here?
for you guys.
Is that a fair
No.
assessment of the
You can't
situation?
get the
No.
9.1, you got to get the 9.
So my dad actually would buy the Dave Campbell's magazine every single year it came out, and we would always look through it.
Smart man.
And, you know, obviously he introduced it as the Bible of Texas football, which it rightfully is. And in Hank Dickinson's class this past semester, he brought in Pickle and Mallory Hartley as, you know, our two recent North Texas grads to speak to
we
the
just
class.
fit the young category. That was it. Like
You
he's
and
like it was
Kyle
like literally
Yeomans,
like
yeah.
Eric Nadell, Craig Way, Pickle and Mallory to fill in a young person thing, and then keep going.
No, Ted Emmerich is young.
Ted Emmerich is young. Yeah, Jared Sandler.
I have to
actually
say that
speaks
because
as
he's
well.
like. I have to say that because Ted's like my age.
Age.
It had a
Like,
nice.
yeah.
It had a nice spread.
Uh,
of
not
age.
yeah.
It
He
really
tries
did.
to
Okay.
cover all bases. We're just there to check the young
Do
category.
you feel like you know more about high school and college football now at the end of your internship than you did at the beginning?
Oh, for sure. Even just going through the editing the pages of the magazine or the proofreading in that first week, I learned that there was a lot more football teams, especially high school football teams in Texas than I had
Yeah, we get
originally
that a
thought.
lot.
Yeah.
You were in the magazine. We found your name, right?
Yes, back in 2010, 2011, I was, I guess it was the 2010 edition, I was in the other players to watch.
to
back in
watch.
2010.
But
That's right.
your dad was not in there. So
Yeah,
would you
and-
say that you were the better
Roast
athlete of the
him.
family?
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
good,
and
good,
he
good.
would admit that too.
Ew.
It's not even close. And by the way, he'd like to file a formal complaint that the linebacking core for Highland Park back in '83 did not get a mention.
That no,
I
you know
will,
what? Fair.
Listen.
Tough, but
Unfortunately,
fair.
the editor in chief at the time is no longer with
With
us, so I can't necessarily file that complaint.
But
with
that's
him,
even better because that just means that the complaint goes straight to you, and that's what we like to
Can't
do
be held
around
responsible
here.
for that. Can't be held responsible for that. Okay, so then, what was your favorite thing that you did during your internship?
Oh man, probably a tie between the home turf series, which I really loved doing, going out to Byron Nelson and Grapevine and getting to see the facilities, and it really, I haven't known too many high school coaches, obviously, and so going to talk to the coaches and realizing that they're really cool people overall.
That they're normal
They're-
humans.
they're normal humans, but yeah, and
Agree.
and so Coach Alexander's golf cart may have been the highlight of that one. He
There
I
you
went
go.
out to Grapevine because he has a golf cart that he gets to go back out to the stadium and back to the facility.
I was going to say, and he
he's
drove
got a
that
good
like
deal.
on the road.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it wasn't just
yeah.
sidewalks.
No, he and people were waving at
At
him.
him.
I'm like, oh, so you're a big deal, right? Like people know you.
That's awesome.
Okay, so then that was your favorite thing that you did. What was your least favorite thing that you did in your internship? We want to give a fair and balanced look at
Sure,
what an
yeah, you
internship
gotta-
at Dave
Yeah.
Campbell's Texas football is like.
I can't think of really anything that was horrendously grating. Proofreading is not really my forte, and so that first week when Pickle was
When
like,
you
"You're
get
going to
thrown
be the
into the
video
fire.
production intern," and then the first day is
Yeah, as the first is like, here's 45 pages.
Yeah,
I need
here's
you to
class
do.
He literally
3A.
read
You
like the entire 5A section or
Yeah.
something. I was like, I'm sorry.
And
That's
then I
tough.
went on to like 3A on Thursday.
Yep.
And, so that was probably my least favorite. Even that wasn't terrible because it's obviously important.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
me and you both, bud. Me
Yeah,
and you
that'll
both.
happen. Okay, and finally, well, no, not finally. Who is your favorite member of the Dave Campbell's Texas football staff, and who is your least favorite member of the Dave Campbell's Texas football staff?
Well, as she is my supervisor, I feel I'm obligated to say that Ashley Pickle is my favorite Dave Campbell's Texas football staff member.
But to be clear, you're only saying that out of obligation. If you
Yes.
weren't obligated,
I plead
we
the fifth.
might get a different answer. I'm
A smart man on the
reading
mic.
the tea leaves here. I'm reading the tea leaves. Okay, who is your least favorite member of the Dave Campbell's Texas football staff?
I have not met a single bad person here, unlikable
It's
person
clearly
here.
Mallory Hartley. That's
but
it.
Yeah,
It's-
I mean,
it's
if we
gotta
have
be.
to pick one,
But
then
it
obviously
has
it's
to be
Mallory.
Mallory.
Look who ducks the bullet again.
Again.
Keep
I'm
doing it.
nothing if not diplomatic.
Okay, and so finally, would you recommend a Dave Campbell's Texas football internship to a friend?
I have already recommended to
Okay.
Dave Campbell's
He has.
internship.
Yeah.
One of my podcast co-hosts that I do at KNTU is looking for an internship possibly in the spring. I passed his name along and passed on Pickle's name. And
Oh, yeah, bump up your podcast
Yeah,
real
do you want to
fast.
promote your podcast?
Oh, sure. The main event's available at kntu.com/podcasts. That me and Mason Shepard do generic sports and, as my wife calls it, sports adjacent topics. So all the stuff that doesn't fit neatly into your major four categories.
How do you feel about your North Texas Mean Green this season? Your beloved, I presume.
Beloved is such a strong word to use.
Your
my-
tolerated.
So if we do any better than last year, I will be surprised. Our main issue last year was inconsistent quarterback play. And I'm not sold on Jace Reuter yet.
Are you sold on Grant Gunnell?
Or Austin Awney.
Dude, Austin Awney is the nicest dude, and I feel bad
I
that
know.
he couldn't get anything going. Because I went to the
know.
press conferences, the player press conferences. I got to, ask him some questions in here, and he's the nicest dude. And I'm like, man, I want you to play well.
I want you to do
I
well.
want you to do well. I do, but I'm not sold on any of the mean green football yet. But didn't you know we're a basketball school now?
We are.
How was that conference championship? Aren't you wearing it? You're wearing a Conference USA basketball shirt.
I'm repping the brand. We're a basketball school.
Absolutely, we're a basketball school.
We recognize this.
Ryan Baldwin, now former intern at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Ryan, we appreciate your help. Pickle,
gonna
what
miss
kind
you,
of grade? What kind of grade would you give Ryan as an intern? You were his supervisor.
Literally, before he walked in, I said, I want to hire Ryan. He was fantastic. Anybody in this area would be very, very lucky to have him. And that's not just because he's a mean green. He's great. He was fantastic.
There it is. A firm C- from Ashley Pickle.
C's get degrees.
That's right.
Or so I've been told.
That's going to do it for us. Ryan, appreciate your help.
Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
You know how we end the show, right? Have you ever watched this program?
He cuts it all the time, but I don't think he has to. He never has to get to the ending.
Yeah.
We've ended 1,432 consecutive episodes by asking Vince Young to get his Player of the Year trophy, and so you have the honor of doing that in a second when I cue you.
Okay.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. It's a real thing. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Corey Hogue and Ryan Baldwin for being our guests. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Ryan?
Mr. Vincent Young, please come get your lovely, lovely Player of the Year award.
We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.